Cheating wife gets caught with her boss after 2 years of infidelity. So, I just caught my wife of 14 years, together 17 years, cheating on me with her district manager of Aramark Refreshments for about 2 years now. Before I get into details, there is a backstory to all of this. I want you all to get a full picture and decide if she was entitled to cheat or did I just pay off a debt I owed. In 2012 I took my wife to get her tonsils removed at the hospital. They gave me her belongings as she couldn't take them inside surgery room. Her phone kept buzzing. I took it upon myself to see who was blowing her up and I read tons of inappropriate emails with another man at work. She was reading 50 Shades of Grey at the time and was referring to the man as her Christian Grey, something she would call me. I was pissed and wanted answers, but unfortunately, she couldn't talk after surgery, so on the drive home I handed her a piece of paper with a pen to answer all the questions I had and she wrote it was nothing but flirting. I grabbed my 2-year-old and briefcase of clothes and went from CA to AZ on a mini weekend getaway with my support team, my best friend and his wife, to stay away from her for a while. Once back she informed me that she deleted her email and it won't happen again. Fast forward a few years and I just could never get over the fact that she would betray me the way she did. I wanted to get even and felt that it was the only way to move forward from it. I met a client who showed me some attention. We started texting, and while my wife would go out with her friends and party, I would secretly leave my son with my mom and go see this woman. We had an affair and eventually fell in love with this other woman. After about 9 months, my affair partner tells me she's pregnant. First thing that came to my head was playing Usher's confession song and actually confessing to my wife, which I did. She took it pretty well as she told me she had an idea and that God was preparing her for that moment. I told her that I wanted a divorce and would like to start a new life with this other woman. She told me that we can work things out, to go to church more and get therapy from the pastor and all should be great. How could I say no to that? I had to break the news to the pregnant AP, who was under the impression that we were going to start a new life together. The bad news that we weren't. Fast forward a few months and I find out my wife is now pregnant. 3 months apart from AP. She wanted to feel more secured over the other woman, so she basically forced us to have another child together. It's December 2014 and I went from having 1 kid to 3 kids in a blink of an eye. It's been crazy, but I'm there for all my kids. Now let's jump over to present time. Wife and I have had our fair share of bumps on the road, but I truly am loving the way we are raising our beautiful children. I have come a long way and have been faithful and committed to rebuilding our relationship. I go out of town for work from time to time, as does she. Just found out that for the last 2 years, she's been having this affair with her boss. Every happy hour event after work, every time she spent doing overtime, every trip to San Diego or Valentine's Day in Portland. He was there keeping her warm in a hotel room. Here's how I found out. She went for drinks after work and I asked, "What time do you plan on being home?" She tells me 9 p.m. 9 p.m. comes around and she's nowhere in sight. I call her and nothing. I get a text with a picture of her girl coworker and it's informing me that she's just grabbing a few more drinks before heading out. I found it so weird that she could text me but can't give me a call. I zoom into the picture into a napkin that was on the table and see where she's at. I drive 45 minutes from home to look for her and there she is. At the bar with her boss with his arms around her. I walk up and they were both shocked to see me. She was quick to say okay bye. I'm like, bye, but I just got here, did I interrupt something? She proceeds to tell me she's closed up her tab and she's leaving. I stay with her boss. The boss is drunk at this point and he's talking to me about his wife. He tells me that she doesn't pay any attention to him and how they do whatever they want. This is the first time I meet this guy and he's getting personal. He asks me if I've ever caught my wife cheating and I proceed to let him know that I haven't, but if I do, it wouldn't be a pretty sight. He orders another drink and I see my wife calling him on his phone multiple times. I found that very odd. In the middle of his drink he gets up and leaves to what I thought was the bathroom, but he actually leaves the bar. I take off home and have tons of questions for my wife. Her response was, "I'm sorry, I should have told you he was with us as well. I've never been the jealous type, and a friend told me to check my phone records. OMG. My heart dropped when I found out she's been talking to him Monday, Friday after work for 15 to 30 minutes at a time. I confronted her with all the phone bills extending to 2 years ago, and she informed me that after work she has end of day reporting to do and he needs those numbers to report to his boss. It was such a good lie. Keep in mind she's not salary and clocks in and out, so in HR point of view, reporting numbers after clocking out would be considered illegal. I needed proof of their conversations, but how? I decided to record their conversations. I'm not going to mention how I did it, but once I heard what was said, my heart broke into a million pieces. She had conversations with her own cousin talking about how much he brings excitement to her life, and it's not only but how funny and goofy he is. She talked about how dumb I was to believe the end of day calls were real. She said how they would have to lay low for a while, and where there's a will, there's a way. And then there's the conversation between the two of them, where they talked about how much they loved one another and how they make each other feel. Straight caught. I knew I was furious but didn't know what to do. Do I go to their HR? My wife just got a promotion, should I tell them it's because she's fucking her boss? I did the only thing I could think of. I contacted his wife. I did a ton of research with some help, of course, from a good buddy that loves drama. Contacted his wife on LinkedIn and waited for her to call. She did, and I told her everything I knew. We put dates together and they've been having a blast for years now while we both were being played for fools. We did a 4-way call, but they denied it all even after the recordings. They both finally came clean. Now I have to ask myself, do I stay for the kids or leave her because my debts from my wrongdoings have been paid? She's begging for me back, but I've moved out and pick up the kids to take them to school every morning. She still works under him and swears it won't happen again, but how can I trust that after 2 years of loving another man? She let him in her heart and pants. Is this my chance to leave her and start a fresh new life, or do I stick around to make sure my kids grow up with an undivided family? Is there hope for this toxic, unhealthy marriage? Should I get the district manager fired for his wrongdoings in all of this? What should I do next? I know 2 wrongs did not make a right. I'm here for advice if anyone has successfully kept their family together for the sake of their children. Comment. A 2-year affair, openly mocking you and planning to start up again as soon as the heat is off? Still working with the AP, but it won't happen again? This isn't about evening up a score. You will never get over this or trust her again, and you know it is not going to end. She will say whatever she needs to say right now because you are the safety net. You need to move on and heal. I personally would leave and file for divorce. I would also, unless you are 100% certain you'll get a DNA test on your youngest child because she baby trapped you to prevent you from getting a divorce. Then I definitely would divorce, and when it's done and final, then I would turn them into the HR department. Good luck to you. It will be hard, but you really need to do it and cross that bridge when you get the results. I wouldn't put that past your wife to do that to you. It all seems so coincidentally that it happened like that. Does the 9 months time frame add up? Sorry you are going through this. Talk to an attorney and get advice on exactly how to proceed. I personally would file for divorce and leave. Good luck to you. That doesn't mean there wasn't someone else then as her form of revenge against you for cheating on her back then. DNA test every child that has claimed to be yours. Every woman that gives birth knows the child came from their body. No man knows without question which child may be theirs. I hate that it's the reality, but it is. Next story. GF of 3 years cheated on me not once but. Things are getting worse as you read. I had been in a 3-year relationship with a girl of the same age. We met during our studies at university and decided to continue our relationship even after completing our studies. I had to move back to my home country to work, while she remained in the country where we studied. We agreed to maintain a long-distance relationship and see each other every month. We started our long-distance relationship on November 2021. Our relationship was fantastic. We visited each other every 2 or 3 weeks max. We organized trips abroad so we could spend more time together, and we took care of each other even though we were apart. Last year, we decided to collect money for a trip to Thailand, and we finally booked our tickets to travel together in March 2023. However, 2 weeks before our departure, I noticed a change in her behavior. For example, she wouldn't send me good morning messages some days or wouldn't send me a message for hours, as she always used to, those 3 years we've been together. It was like I wasn't her priority. Her behavior made me suspicious, but I did not want to accuse her of anything. When we met before our departure, her behavior became even more concerning. As I said, her behavior the past 2 weeks made me a bit suspicious, so I was monitoring her a bit closer. I noticed that she would hide her phone when texting and even brought it with her to the restroom, which was out of character. That was the first time in 3 years that she took her phone together to the toilet. 3 hours before our departure, I got the chance to look at her phone and found messages between her and a co-worker. The messages included phrases like "I miss you," "I'm thinking about you," and "This is the first time I'm feeling like that, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes." I didn't know how to react, and I didn't want to tell her that I have seen her messages. So, I changed my behavior. I was distant. And she, instead of coming closer and asking me what's wrong and why I'm different, she found this as an opportunity to exchange even more messages with that co-worker. On the 5th day of our trip, I confronted her about the messages and asked her what was going on with the co-worker. I didn't say to her that I viewed her messages. She admitted to exchanging inappropriate messages with him and claimed that it was just for fun and did not mean anything and that nothing have happened between the two. When I asked her to show me the messages, she refused, which confirmed my suspicion that something more serious was happening. After deciding to enjoy my holiday and break up with her after the trip, I woke up during the night 2 days before we left and searched her phone for evidence. To be clear, I don't justify my behavior, and it's something that I didn't do during our 3 years together because I trusted her. Although I had trusted her throughout our relationship, I found messages that revealed she with a man in May 2022. Also, she had told to her best friend, 2 weeks before our trip to Thailand, that she was not looking forward to meeting me anymore. Her BF asked her if she had cheated with me once. And her response was cheated more than once, with the laughing emoji. And lastly, her BFS asked her. And my GF told her proudly, "Man, we are only 23. I did both." Our trip came to an end. And before our flight back home, I told her I want to break up. I told her that I know that the messages weren't just for fun. I told her that I know she with another guy, and I also told her that since you are only 23, I'm sure you can find another guy. Lastly, I asked her, "How many times have you cheated on me?" She said 3. Once with a guy from her gym. Once with a random guy she met on her vacations with her BF. And once with a co-worker, not the one she was exchanging messages with, other guy. I told her why wasn't she filled with remorse the first time? Why she did it a second and why a third time? Of course she started feeling bad, saying she is an idiot, she didn't appreciate the person that she was with, that she didn't want to lose me, that she made a mistake, to give her a second chance, that these 3 people didn't mean anything to her, etc. I told her that she ruined a perfect relationship with a guy that he loved her and made plan for the future with her over some people that didn't mean anything to her and that she wasn't going to see ever again. Comnet. Girl cheats on guy with multiples. Girl gets caught and pretends to care. Guy calls it quits, straight up, no games. The end. Now that's a modern day love story I can get behind. Basically, you dodged a bullet. Many never see the problem until after they marry. Glad you saw it ahead of time. That is up to you. If they were expecting a proposal in the future or look at you like a future son-in-law, then it may be appropriate to let them know you are not together anymore and to say it nicely that it was because there had been other men in her life while you were dating. No need to go into details. If the relatives want more info, they can ask her. I mentioned the friend groups because oftentimes cheaters try and spin stories so that they look like victims. This could apply to families as well. That is up to you. If they were expecting a proposal in the future or look at you like a future son-in-law, then it may be appropriate to let them know you are not together anymore and to say it nicely that it was because there had been other men in her life while you were dating. No need to go into details. If the relatives want more info, they can ask her. I mentioned the friend groups because oftentimes cheaters try and spin stories so that they look like victims. This could apply to families as well. To help you out, I would suggest that you probably talk to a therapist and cannot talk this out of you. The other thing is, make sure that you have her completely blocked and never communicate with her again. Don't ever let her try to bring those back up, and anyway all it will do is order you some more. Good luck, my friend.